Hey guys, it's Cassie and today we are going to be talking about the new generation of it bags. The term it bag gets thrown around a lot, right? When we talk about luxury fashion and what's worth buying and all of that, what's hot, what's trendy and everything. It bags, it bags, it bags. What does it mean? So let's have a little discussion about that and the new generation of possible it bags. We're going to go through them, we're going to see, do they fit the it bag criteria? Guys, if you are new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Guys, are you ready? Let us begin. Starting off, what makes an it bag? Turns out the answer isn't so clear-cut. I have some references in front of me if you don't mind me reading those out to you. Wikipedia, the least credible source, says, a high-priced designer bag that has become a popular bestseller. Then we have Lucia Savi, who I believe is a curator at the V&A Museum, and she was part of their handbags exhibit. So she has said an it bag has a timeless design, craft, quality materials, and scarcity. It's hard to get, it's connected to celebrity, and they encapsulate a moment. And then the third reference I have here is the Rebag CEO and founder who says, we consider an it bag to be having a moment or spike in popularity. Celebrities, influencers and other tastemakers gravitate to them. Okay, let's keep this in the back of our minds as we discuss it bags going through this video. One thing to also keep in mind is that the term it bag is very subjective, and it depends on what part of social media you're on as to what bags are having a spike in popularity. You may be on a corner of social media where blue marine bags are having a moment, right? So it really depends on who you follow and all of that and what you're going to be seeing a lot of. Based on that, there really is no right or wrong answer as to what is an it bag, but some do sort of come to the top of mind when you think about them that I feel like we all maybe agree would be it bags. Some to note. The Jacquemus Le Chiquito. Oh my gosh, talk of the town, shall we say. Still very much a bag that a lot of people love to buy and enjoy and use now. But in 2018, this was the antithesis of everything we were seeing. It was like, oh my gosh, where has this TBE tiny bag come from, right? From whence did you come, sir? And I think that that ruffled some feathers, but it gained a lot of loyal fans as well. The Gucci Marmont, which I know you may know I am not the biggest fan of, right? But I don't think I can sit here and say that it wasn't a popular bag. It was very much an it bag, I would determine it to be, because it was everywhere, as was the Dionysus before it. Even something like, would we say, the Dior book tote. The spike maybe has dropped a little bit in how much we were talking about this bag or how much people were purchasing this bag or whatever. But at one point, this was the it bag that everybody was bothered about. I think that bag has almost sort of graduated into Dior classic territory, but that's a conversation for another day. I've compiled a list of 9 potential it bags for us to discuss and measure against some of the criteria I've already covered. Bag number 1. The Balenciaga Le Cagole. Right, once again, this is not a bag that I have been, loving. It's not me. I think that we can all look at me and agree I'm not a Le Cagole gal. Fine. But I can't also sit here and tell you that this is not a hugely popular bag. The Q2 2022 list index reported that this was the 4th hottest women's item in that quarter. It's definitely sort of at its peak. I don't know if it can get even more popular than it currently is. It's been seen on celebrities. It's been slung on the shoulders of, top tier influencers and all of that. And it's a very popular consumer piece as well. This isn't just something that we're seeing on celebrities and the in crowd. It's a piece that, those people who are into luxury or, into luxury handbags are buying as well. Now, one piece of criteria that was mentioned is a scarcity tied to it bags. And I wouldn't say that this bag is particularly limited edition or scarce, but if you wanted to buy a Balenciaga Le Cagole, you could do that today. No problem, no questions asked, no jumping through hoops. She's readily available. So while I wouldn't say it has that exclusivity aspect, it definitely is I think it's something that we can all agree is really having that moment in time, that spike of popularity, and I think I'm gonna have to determine that she's an it bag. All right, the next bag, I admit defeat, because a few months after this bag came out, I said, it's not gonna last. I see the back of this bag. Nobody that's not an influencer is buying this bag. Well, I'm the first to admit when I'm wrong. This is the Prada Cleo. This bag is still around town, still being bought up, coming out in different varieties. There's a crystal one, all of that. People are loving the Prada Cleo. It definitely has that minimalist chic vibe that Prada delivers on. Is it popular enough for it to be an it bag? You see, for this one, I don't think it is. I don't think it has that sort of spike or hype or natterings about it to the extent of some of the other bags in this list, so I don't think it's an it bag. But, you know, fight me in the comments. The next bag, the Telfar tote. Now, Telfar's strategy has extended the longevity of the popularity of this bag. So they primarily work on a drop system that's like colour-based. So it'll be like, okay, the gold drop, the green drop, blah, 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 okay? Which obviously that creates a bit of hype. We lean into the scarcity aspect that we're going to come back to. Their PR is very good. So recently they did a collaboration, or like they took over the Rainbow store. I don't know what this store is, but I think it's a thing. And they took over and you could buy all the bags in one place, and this was the first time that you've ever been able to do that. Beyonce shouted them out recently in one of her songs, which definitely would have helped. Telfar has been around for a few years now, and the popularity of this bag hasn't seemed to really drop off. They come in a few sizes. He does have some other bag styles, but really, if you're thinking of Telfar, you're thinking of the tote. Going back to the exclusivity and the scarcity aspect of it bags, Telfar really has it. And the thing is that this is definitely a much more approachable, affordable price point of, you know, designer bag. It's definitely more of, I would say, like a contemporary brand, but by having this drop system, there is that air of exclusivity that it's hard to get, that you've got to be on there, you're fighting against bots, or you buy it resale for double the price or whatever. They're not that easy to get hold of. Recently, they've introduced some bag security programs where a couple of times a year or once a year, they allow you the opportunity to pre-order, and then, you know, you get it delivered to you months later. But really, again, you can't just go on the website and check out. Like I said, Wikipedia's criteria of high price point doesn't necessarily apply here as it does to some of the other bags. You know, again, I mean, it's not a cheap bag, but you know what I mean. But I think despite all of that, Telfar is very much an it bag. It is still enjoying its it bag status, and I don't see it sort of dropping off anytime soon. Next up, the Bottega Veneta Jodie. This is a resounding yes. This is go up to the rooftops and scream it bag from your lungs. This one to me is definitely one of the most obvious it bags. This bag was everywhere, on everyone. Definitely you're seeing it a little bit less now, but it took over luxury fashion for about a year. And now they've got more variations, which definitely means a bit more variety in the styles that we're seeing. And I think it actually has all of the qualities of a bag that is timeless. Depends what colour you go for and all of that, but let's just talk about the bag style. It has all of the qualities of a bag that's timeless, but is just sort of experiencing a spike in love and popularity. She's an it bag. Let's switch over from TBE to BBE. This is the Saint Laurent Icare bag. This was one of those bags that it was released and we saw it everywhere. It took over. It's ginormous, right? But much like the Jacquemus Le Chiquito when it came out, it's the opposite of what we've been seeing a lot of recently. It was the first sort of, not the first big bag to come back in fashion, but I would say it was the one that had the most bang on the drum, the most toot 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 about it, when we've been living in a world of TBE and more, you know, medium-sized bags. Seen on a lot of celebrities, and for a while there it was really, really selling out. I think now it's a bit more readily available, so that scarcity aspect of an it bag, it did have, maybe has a little bit less now, but I still think that that needs to be taken into consideration. It's also by no means a cheap bag. This bag is very expensive. That's a lot of leather used there. There's quite a lot of that YSL on the front is, you know, some hefty hardware. And I feel like it's currently living its very best it bag life. The next bag, this is the Chanel 22. And this one, I'm not sure about. So let's have a little chat, shall we? Chanel has a track record of whenever it releases a classic, I know people don't like it when I use the term classic in Chanel, and I'm not talking about the classic flap or the reissue or whatever, but when they introduce a new sort of named bag style to their roster, Chanel has the ability to make that a knit bag very quickly. Let's take something like the Chanel 19. That bag was released, love, it bag, people wanted it left, right and centre. It still is a very popular style from the brand. Has the Chanel 22 seen the same levels of popularity? Is it much more of a divisive style? I think so. I think the Chanel 19 ticked a lot more boxes, was a lot more user-friendly. You could see it apply to a lot more people's lifestyles more than the Chanel 22. I don't think she's to that it bag level. What are your thoughts? Next up, the Coperni Swipe bag. So, once again, this bag, sort of on a similar lines to Telfar, has maintained the ability to keep it talked about, to keep its popularity based on like quite smart PR moves and variations, right? Lest we forget the glass Coperni Swipe bag that was made in collaboration with Heaven, which is a glass company. Seen on celebrities, Gen Z tastemakers, and again, a little bit more of an approachable price point. Like I said, they're very good at making talked about items. The glass one, more recently on the catwalk, they showed one that was solid 24 karat gold. That gets people talking, it gets people consider the brand and the more user-friendly, more everyday versions of the bag. Is it a knit bag? I would say, it's maybe just snuck in there as a knit bag. I think it's got the popularity, the exclusivity, they sell out quite a lot. It's not the hardest bag to get, but I think she's there. The next bag, I'm putting two in one here, right? Hermès, Birkins and Kellys. For all intents and purposes, I shall be talking about these as one. And I think that we can all agree that since their inception, the Birkins and the Kellys have always been very sought after designer bags, right? It's always been on a lot of people's designer bag bingo card, you know, like check that off at some point. It's very much been this sort of like iconic status bag, especially amongst celebrities. I think it definitely had a peak in the 2000s. Victoria Beckham was very well known for her collection of fabulous Birkins. And then I actually think it sort of died down a bit, but hold on a second. Until recent years where hype and interest has gone through the roof. And I don't know if it's just because of the luxury community on social media, people are sharing how to get these bags, or, you know, like tips. People are just showing their collections more, and maybe this is the most that some people have seen about these bags, and that's gotten them interested. I think that social media has played a huge part in, you know, the fact that at the moment everybody wants a Birkin or a Kelly. If you're going to talk about exclusivity and scarcity with it bags, it's got that 100%. It is the top bag for that. If you're talking about price point, it's definitely up there. And it's got that popularity, it's got that parallel with celebrities and, you know, fashion tastemakers and all of that. Those bags are the perpetual it bags. The last one is a bit of a rogue one. This is the Prada Raffia tote. Now, I have spoken my thoughts on this tote previously. I'm not the biggest fan, but that's not what we're talking about today. Cassie, get back on track. Okay. Prada is doing very well with their bag releases the last few years since they've started doing their re-editions. I think they've tapped into what people want now very well. And although very much a seasonal bag, this is a bag that is spring-summer only. You're not going to be carrying your lemons down the streets in the middle of winter with this Prada Raffia tote. You know, Prada is killing it right now. It's currently the third hottest designer brand. But this is why I wanted to include it. It was everywhere this summer. All right, it was on everybody. We were seeing it left, right and sodding centre. And I wonder if it's almost like a seasonal it bag, because it was there this summer. It was also there last summer as well. Is this a seasonal it bag? By no means is this bag cheap, especially for what it is. This sold out, hard to get, shocking I know. But Cassie, take your opinions out of this. And I think the question is, as to whether or not she's a perpetual summer it bag, is are we going to see her rise again next summer? Let's keep our eyes open. Let me know what you think of this video and my determinations of it bags. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are, and in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys. Glad you enjoyed as well.